Good afternoon, and this is John from Nashville Travel Concierge, and I'm coming to you near Nashville, Tennessee. And today we're going to be doing a Q&A. I've got, if you look here, I've got about 4 pages of questions that people have asked me. I've typed up the questions. Have I given any thought to the answers? Very little, because as a concierge, the gift I have is the ability to BS my way through half the things that I do and usually come up with the right answers. So what I'm doing right today is I'm going to answer questions that I have received over the last couple of years, either at the Gaylord Opryland Resort or at the Bobby Hotel where I work now. And so we're just going to go down through the questions. I've got the comments open, so if I see any questions asked on the comments, I'm going to answer those as well. So first of all, number 1, are Nashville bars open on Christmas Day? Well, Christmas falls on a Saturday, which means absolutely nothing because Nashville bars are open every day. And it takes pretty much a serious pandemic, or it takes a government that wants people to get better to close bars anytime in Nashville. So yes, Nashville bars are going to be open on Christmas Day. And I'll try not to be so political. Okay, my answers. Okay, number 2. What can we do with our kids in Nashville? And that's kind of interesting because a while back I posted a video about the question that people have always asked me throughout the years. And that is, can we bring our kids to the honky tonks on Broadway? And the answer to that, of course, was yes, you can before 7 o'clock at night. Your kids can come in with you, but they can't be in there in the evening. But what else can you do with your kids in Nashville? Well, that's my first thought would be normally the Adventure Science Center. Kids tend to love that, and it's a science center, and they have a lot of displays and exhibits that are aimed at entertaining kids. And you can look it up. I'll have the link below for it. Right now, Christmas time, there is a country Christmas going on at the Gaylord Opryland, and there's a lot of positives about bringing your kids to that. The thing is, you have to get your tickets online before you show up. You pay for them. They send them to you via email, and you bring your phone and have your tickets on your phone when you get there. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on. Next question is, what is the best place to party in Nashville? That depends on who you are. A lot of people will come to town and they go to Broadway and never leave. If you're into country music, you can get as much as you need on Broadway. Just bar hop from honky tonk to honky tonk. There won't be any cover charges. If there are, I tell people leave because there's so much competition there that there is no there usually is not a cover charge. I understand that the Wild Horse Saloon, which belongs to the Gaylord Opryland Resort, does charge a cover charge if you're not staying there. But on Broadway, there's plenty of places to go for live music and to spend all your money and party. Another place you may want to go is to Printer's Alley, and this is if you're not so much into country music and you like jazz and blues. They have a little country there, but not much. And do they have cover charges? I understand that Skull's Rainbow Room on Friday and Saturday night have a cover. Possibly the Bourbon Street Boogie Bar has a cover, but it's worth going to. Okay. Are there any restaurants in Nashville with Christmas specials? There are a lot of restaurants in Nashville with a Christmas special, and I'm going to put the link to Nashville Guru down below. And if you go there, just search Christmas specials or Christmas restaurant specials in the search engine, and it'll pop up the information that you need. Okay, so there's plenty of places. Okay, and do I recommend any? Sure. Church and Union is one of the ones that I would recommend. But, before I go on to recommend anything, you should have your reservations already, okay? If you're going to eat in downtown Nashville, have your reservations ahead of time, or you won't be eating pretty much anywhere down there. Okay. What is parking like in Nashville? Okay, if you're going to come to Nashville and rent a car or drive your car into town, you're going to pay for parking. And what is parking like? There's a lot of parking, okay? It's going to cost you. There's on Sundays, you can park on the street if there's a metered area, and it won't cost you anything. That's Sundays. Some people tell me Saturday nights are like that too, but it's hard to find that sort of spot on Saturday night. So you're going to have to pay, and it just depends on where you're staying. Most hotels will have parking, and they'll probably charge you for it, okay? Where I work at, there is a fee for valet parking, but it's safe. Your car is safe, okay? Just remember, you will pay for parking if you have a car in downtown Nashville. What's the hardest restaurant to get a reservation for? Okay. The thing that makes it hard to get a reservation at any restaurant is taking your time and trying to get that reservation right before you get here. There are restaurants that are hard to get reservations to normally, but if you try 2 to 3 weeks before you arrive, you got a pretty good chance of getting a table. So that's what makes it hard usually, is that you wait till the last minute, you walk into the hotel, you check in, get your room key, and you come over to my desk and say, oh, we need a reservation in 3 hours at Jeff Ruby's or Skulls or someplace that you should have had your reservation set weeks before. And just to let you know, I can get those reservations for you, but not always, okay? So what is the hardest restaurant to get a reservation to? The one that you don't plan ahead. Okay. Are all bars 18 and over? For drinking, sure. And at nighttime, yes. Okay. That's pretty simple. Are you from Nashville? No. Do I sound like I'm from Nashville? I'm actually from Michigan, Coldwater, Michigan. I left home, joined the Navy when I was 18 years old, a long time ago. Discovered the South. I've lived in various places down south, Charleston, South Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, which I actually don't consider the South. That's more of a northern southern city. Houston, Texas. And this is the furthest north I've lived in over 40 years, is in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm not from here. I've been here about 15 years, and my wife's family is from here, and there's a lot of good things about this place, and so this is where I'm at. Is the Parthenon worth it? Okay, I do a video on the Parthenon. You can take a look at that. Is it worth it? It's free. It's free, and it's pretty cool. They built it years ago. I'm not going to tell you the year because I don't remember, but it's in the video. They built it for an exhibition here in Nashville, and it was such a hit that they decided to secure it and make it a permanent building. It looks just like the Parthenon, or one of the Parthenons in Greece, and it's actually the first art museum in Tennessee, and one of the first in the South, and it's pretty cool. So is it worth it? Sure, it's well worth it. What is the parking secret? Another parking question. What is the parking secret for visiting the Gaylord Opryland Resort? Okay, a lot of times people will come to the hotel and they'll say, well, what is there to do today? They want to do something different, something away from the downtown area. And if it's even if it's not a nice day, I'll suggest they go maybe tour the Grand Ole Opry, and right next to the Opry to the left, they're going to see this big, massive structure, and it's the Gaylord Opryland Resort. It's the largest non-gambling resort in North America. And I tell them if they're driving, it's going to cost them $32 to park there. And so I suggest that instead they park over by the Grand Ole Opry. There's actually a mall parking lot right there, and it's maybe a 8-minute walk over to the Gaylord. You don't have to pay for parking. You can go inside, you can walk around, you can enjoy it, and not pay anything. So that's the secret. Let's see. The next one is, does Nashville have a zoo? Yes, they do, and it's pretty cool. I'm actually a member of the zoo for this year, and it's what I like about it is it's spread out. When you go in, there's a lot of room, and you can go in large groups. There's places to picnic. It's and lots of animals, and it's pretty clean. And so it's a cool zoo. If you're into zoos, it's a cool zoo. Okay, what is a honky tonk? Okay, you know, before I moved to Nashville, I didn't know they still existed. I've heard the terms, or let's go honky tonking, but I didn't know what a honky tonk was. And this is my definition. Honky tonk is basically a bar with live music, and the live music plays pretty much all day long, from opening to closing. And you can say, well, a lot of bars have live music, but not like this. This is from the time they open till the time they close. There's live music. That's how I see a honky tonk. If I'm wrong, who cares? But that's my definition. Okay. Okay, why are kids allowed into the honky tonks on Broadway? I mentioned this before. People have the idea that that Broadway is for families during the daytime, and they bring their kids. I gotta be honest with you. It's a bunch of bars, and yeah, they have live music and everything, but it's a bunch of bars, and it's up to you if you want to bring your kids to a bar. That's up to you, but why? It's because anything to make a buck. Okay. Does Nashville have a soccer team? They do. It's pretty popular, and the name of it, I have no idea. It's pretty funny. We just call it the Nashville soccer team, and again, they're popular. They're getting a brand new stadium that's going to be opening next year, and I hope it's next year. And but it's got a big following. Okay, so they do have a major league soccer team. Okay. What do they have at the Adventure Science Center for adults? Because I mentioned earlier, it's a good place for kids, but it's also a pretty good place for adults. They have a planetarium with at least 2, 3, 4 different shows, and that's set up for families, you know. But they also usually have a couple of different shows in the planetarium where they play live music, whether it's the Beatles or modern music, and I can't name anybody modern right now. And but just different groups, they'll play music and have shows inside the planetarium that are kind of cool. You know, laser shows or just star shows or whatever. And so that's what they have for adults. And of course, adults do enjoy a lot of the exhibits that are set up for the kids or for families. So that's a fun thing too. Also in the summertime, 4th of July, the Adventure Science Center will have a 4th of July thing going on where you can come and eat and maybe have glasses of wine and sit in the grass and watch the fireworks and not be stuck downtown amongst all the people that are doing the same thing downtown. Okay. And so that's something else that they have set up for adults. Okay, that's page 1. And give it a second here. Okay. Are the Predators good this year? Well, probably. Okay, they've been good for the last 4 or 5 years, and they made it to the finals in the Stanley Cup. And this is a hockey town, by the way. We do have a football team here, the Titans, and if they do well, people will be happy. But the Predators run this place. The nickname for Nashville is Smashville. It's been that way for several years, and I say that no matter how bad the Predators are 1 year or 1 year or another year, it's still their town. Okay, and that's how I see it. Okay, is there anywhere in or around Nashville you'd suggest not going? Okay, good question. And I mentioned sending people over to the Gaylord Opryland for just to walk around and to check things out, and that they're having their Christmas. It's called A Country Christmas thing. Again, this year they've had the Oak Ridge Boys performing, and I did a live video about it a couple weeks ago. And now that I'm saying all this, is there any reason why I would suggest not going over there? It all depends on who you are. Okay, we went over there the other night to do some filming. It was a Monday. We expected the occupancy to be down, and we were quite surprised. There were so many locals there, and okay, we're talking Tennessee, we're talking Nashville, one of the worst cities or worst states for COVID vaccinated people, and it felt like we were in a germ cesspool. I'm just telling you, I've had my vaccines and my booster, and so has my wife. And I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just saying that if you're one of those people that just can't stand being in a large group of other people, not knowing what their status is, don't go there. If you're somebody that doesn't care, that's up to you. Okay, I'm not telling you, you're adults. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. But I'm saying that if you don't feel comfortable in that sort of a setting, don't go. After we went outside to all the outside activities, we walked inside the hotel to take some pictures. It was bumper to bumper people, persons, whatever you call. I mean, there were so many people, and we had a hard time finding a station where we can get some hand sanitizer that was actually working. Okay, the stations have these you put your hand underneath the machine, and it shoots out sanitizer. Well, we had to find one, and we had a hard time finding it, and it was just bumper to bumper people, and it was not a good feeling for us. Okay, so it's up to you what kind of a person you are. Okay, name 5 places you suggest visiting or doing in the Nashville area. Okay, now that I just told you not to go to the Gaylord, okay, if you go over to the Grand Ole Opry, there's one place, Grand Ole Opry, do a backstage tour, and do a show if you want to do a show. And if it's a nice day and daytime, and there's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the occupancy in at the Gaylord will be low, and that's when you want to go inside and walk around during the daytime when they have low occupancy. Okay, at nighttime we learned that's when people are off work and they're taking their kids right now over there for the a country Christmas activities. But again, after the holidays over with, they'll be gone. Things will be quiet over at the Gaylord. When there's few people, it's a great place to walk around. Okay, so but right now, Gaylord for the Grand Ole Opry, and put that with the Gaylord on a quiet day. Cheekwood, Estates and Gardens. I have a couple of videos taken at Cheekwood on here, and it's on a nice day. It's one of the most beautiful places I've been. They have a lot of things going on, not just for adults, but for kids too. And if you go there, I'm telling you, you're going to be glad I told you to go there. Okay. Number 3 would be Belmead, which is also located over by Cheekwood, and it's pretty cool. It's Belmead Plantation. Number 4 would be the Hermitage, Andrew Jackson's home, and somebody actually asked me last year how I felt the Hermitage was going to handle all the stories in the news of people in American history who were slave owners and who were not considered the American heroes that they might have once been considered. And what I learned about the Hermitage is that they handle Andrew Jackson's life the way they should, honestly. And he was a slave owner, and he was a pretty mean guy. And they don't work around that. They tell things how it is, and I think it's a great place to go because they're honest about the history, and you learn quite a bit. I have a video about the Hermitage, and I went on a tour called In Their Steps, and dealt with the life of slaves at the Hermitage, and it was well worth it. Okay, and the final place I'd say, there's so many places, but go to Franklin if you're into Civil War history. Franklin, there was a major battle over there, and they document all the activities, and you can visit several houses and different locations that are centered around the battle. And that's what I would do. I'd go to Franklin. Franklin's also a nice, quiet little area. You can do some shopping there, and it's I've talked to people that work out there, and they said that a lot of people will come out there and visit, and they'll have a great time learning about the American, about the Civil War and a lot of American history there. Okay, and now let's see. What are the best restaurants in Nashville? It depends on what you like. Okay, if you're coming there to have hot chicken, there's Hattie B's. Okay, that's the best hot chicken. Steak. Every year, the Nashville Scene magazine does a poll for the best different things in Nashville, including best restaurants, best steak restaurants. This year, Bourbon Steak took number 1, with Kane Prime was number 2, and Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse was number 3 for steak. It depends on who you are, and I'm sure some people will like one over the other. Okay, we have a great sushi place called Oku, and a couple more exciting places for people is Skull's Rainbow Room, and oh man, there's just several places. There's dozens of great places to eat. It depends on what you like. Okay, don't ask me. I guess you did. I guess somebody did ask me, but it depends on what they like. I can get them reservations to some great restaurants. Okay. How can you get into the Gaylord Opryland Resort on the weekends during ACC? ACC is a country Christmas, and basically from 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday until Sunday night, unless you have a reservation at the hotel or tickets to an event inside the hotel, you can't get in to the hotel. And but you can get in any other night, as I found out the other day, and they were packed with people. But if you really want to get in, I've talked to people who have told me that if you tell security that it's your anniversary, that if it's your birthday, something like that, they might let you in. If you're a couple, if you're a big group, no way. Okay, but there are ways to get in. Okay. Will the Titans make the playoffs? Probably. I don't know. Okay. Go Lions. Okay. What is the best tour company in Nashville? You know, there's a lot of tour companies, and partly it's what you want to do. They have these tours that you sit on the little carts and you pedal and all that, and that's popular for some people. And you can do private tours. Grayline always does good tours, but the one that I prefer, and I did a video on it, one that I prefer is I got to be honest about this. I actually make money off of this company, but I still think it's the best tour company in Nashville, and that's Old Town Trolley. And the most popular tour that they have, because they have several, is the Hop On, Hop Off Trolley tour. And basically, you buy your ticket. I do have a special code that you can use that is mentioned in one of the videos that I did. But the point is, you get on the trolley and you ride around. They have 14 or 15 stops now, and stay on the trolley until they go through the whole circuit, and notice the places you might want to see. And then you get off, you get on another trolley, no extra cost, and then you go to the location of where you want to get off and visit. That way you can see what's on their tour, and you can decide what you really want to get off the vehicle and go look at. Okay. And what are the best hotels in Nashville? Well, it depends on who you are, and what you want to do, and how much you want to spend, and where you want to stay, and what you want to do. Okay. If you want an experience in downtown Nashville, you know, there's on 4th Avenue, there's several hotels in that area that I call the Art District, and I work at one of them, and I consider that a pretty good hotel where I'm the concierge there, and I could say that's a good place to stay. But, you know, there are people that just want to come to Nashville and visit Broadway, and they don't want to spend a whole lot of money, and they just want to have a good time. And I tell them, hey, just get a room outside of town at a Hampton Inn or a Holiday Inn or something like that, someplace that has a pool, and then you have plenty of money to go eat, and if you have a car, you drive downtown, find a parking place, spend the day, or do an Uber or a Lyft or cab or something, and save your money for the actual activities you're doing. It depends on what you want to do, but there's a lot of good hotels in Nashville, and there's a lot of cheap hotels in Nashville that will do the trick. Okay. Okay, hold on. What is your most popular video so far? Okay, I've done about 60 videos here, and there's two types of videos. There's shorts, and there's regular videos. And for my regular video, believe it or not, my tour of the Dukes of Hazzard, it's called Cooter's Place, but my tour of it's the Dukes of Hazzard Museum, and that's my most popular video. And yeah, it's weird, but it is. I get a lot of people visit, and the show had a lot of fans. Okay, so that's the most popular one. It's my Dukes of Hazzard's Cooter's Place video. Okay. What's a cheaper way of enjoying Nashville? I kind of mentioned it a few minutes ago. Just staying at some place that doesn't have a concierge and doesn't have a restaurant, and you get a continental breakfast, and like a Red Roof Inn or someplace like that, and use your money on doing stuff around town. Okay, that's the cheapest way. Yeah, everybody has their idea of what a vacation should be like, and the way I look at it is you have a budget, you have so much money you want to spend, you can either spend it on frills, or you can spend it on doing stuff. Okay, so basically it's up to you. Okay, where is the best barbecue in Nashville? Martin's. Okay, and you can use GPS, Google it, or if your hotel has a concierge, they can find the address for you. where do you suggest people visit Nashville? Okay, where do you suggest people go for coffee in Nashville? Guess what? I go to Starbucks because I know what I'm going to get. But you know, you come to Nashville and there's all these other coffee places. There's Frothy Monkey. The Dream Hotel has a good coffee area, and there's at least a half dozen. Okay, and in Nashville, and you just you'll see coffee signs everywhere. It's coffee, and it's usually good. And but I've got about 15,000 points on my Starbucks card. So that's where I go because I like to pay for coffee. Okay. I think we answered this one first on the first question. Are Nashville bars open on Sunday? They open every day. Okay. If not Nashville, where would you like to live? Okay. Cancun, any place with a beach. Panama City, Florida has a beach. I cannot imagine taking a vacation without sun, sand, and water and a beach. Okay, that's the way it is. Not everybody agrees with me on that, of course. We get a lot of people here in Nashville, and that's a good thing. Okay, it's just that if I had a choice, I'd be where it was sunnier more parts of the year. Okay. Okay, what are some of the must-see places in Nashville? I kind of went over this on the 5 places I would tell you to check out. What is there to do on a normal weekend in Nashville? Okay, you can, when it's just a regular weekend, and if there's a game, you can go to the game. If there's concerts, you can go to the concerts all the time. You can spend your time on Broadway. You can go to Printer's Alley. You can go to Franklin and check out the different places there, the Civil War history places, and just the town itself. There's a lot of little neighborhoods around Nashville. What I would do is go to NashvilleGuru.com, and there's a section that says neighborhoods. And if you click on that, you can see what's going on in these neighborhoods. And that's something you can do. Okay. Are people wearing masks in Nashville? Yeah, they are. It's okay. It's not required right now, but some people at some times downtown will be wearing masks. I wear a mask sometimes downtown too, and I'll wear one where I work at. And it's just depends on who you are and the situation. Okay, and if they feel better, they feel safer wearing them, and sometimes I do too. It's not mandatory yet. Are Nashville bars open? Yes. Why do you show so many shorts on your YouTube channel? Okay, if you don't know what a short is a video that lasts less than 60 seconds, and YouTube they call them shorts on their YouTube app. They have a special place for shorts, and I have several on my page. All of my shorts have something to do with Nashville. And why do they play them? Well, the reason is, first of all, it keeps my numbers up. They have an algorithm and computer calculation that decides who watches my videos and who doesn't, and that sort of thing. And you should at least post a video once every 7 days. I did that. I was doing that pretty well for the first 8 months, and then kind of fell back due to weather. So I decided to start doing shorts to keep the numbers up. That's it. And hopefully I entertain people with them. And they do bring in a lot of subscribers. But they're not my favorite thing to do when I have time. Okay, but that's why I do so many shorts. It's to keep my numbers up. What are the COVID rules for the New Year's Eve bash? For the New Year's Eve bash. Okay, this year the big celebration in Nashville is the New Year's Eve bash, and just to let you know that all 6 hours of celebration are going to be on national television. Okay, and I understand. I'm just telling you that if you don't live here, you can watch it on national television. But the rules, from what I understand, is you either have to have proof of being vaccinated or you have to have had a negative test within 72 hours. And, if you're coming, I would double check all that just to make sure that you have what you need in order to attend. But that's what's going on. Okay. Why haven't you shot videos at any of the Nashville honky tonks? Okay. Well, because I haven't felt completely safe over the last year and a half going into a honky tonk because of COVID, being honest with you. And I'm sure some of these places do their best, but it's like at times it's like you're walking through a cesspool, and a lot of people, most people on Broadway are not wearing masks. And yes, I've been vaccinated, I've been boosted and all that, but you kind of get used to it. Who you don't want to be around, and so that's basically it. That's why I haven't. And also, I wanted to show that there are plenty of places in Nashville to go besides Broadway. Will I ever do Broadway? Of course I will, but just probably not this year. Do you feel safe in downtown Nashville? Well, it's like any other large city or small town. There are places you should go and places you shouldn't. And I feel fine wherever I go. When do bars shut down at night? I think 1 or 2 in the morning, somewhere around there. It's late. Is it worth going to a show at the Opry? I've never been to a show at the Opry, but do I think is it worth it? Yes. First of all, this is how it works. If you go to opry.com and you check out who's playing on particular dates, you'll see at the end that it'll say and more and others, whatever it's going to say. And the reason for that is because to be a member of the Opry, of the Grand Ole Opry, you have to perform at least 12 times in a year. And a lot of the people that are members don't have 12 shows scheduled. So what they'll do is they'll call up before a performance, maybe a day or two or whenever, and say that they're available and they want to come and do a couple songs, because that will count toward one of their 12 times. So when you try to get your tickets to the Opry, you'll see it says and more. Well, that's because they don't know who's going to call, and you never know who it is. A lot of these people live in Nashville, and they want to stay. They want to keep their membership, so they're going to come when they're available. And a lot of times they're available most of the year, especially around holidays. They're available, and so is it worth it? First of all, you don't know who you're going to get. You get great entertainment to begin with, and sometimes more than what you paid for. And the prices are not bad. Okay. And what else can I tell you? I've been in the Opry. I've toured the Opry twice. And there really isn't a bad seat. Prices are good and good entertainment. So is it worth it? Again, yes, it is. Okay. Which Nashville's Trader Joe is the best? I have no idea. What distillery or winery tour would I recommend? Okay, distillery, Greenbrier Whiskey. Yeah, it's over on Clinton Street. I'd recommend them. They're good people. And for a winery, there's only one winery I'd recommend, and that is Arrington Vineyards, and that's out just past Franklin. It gets great reviews. They have a large area where you can go and bring your friends and like sort of like a picnic and listen to music. And it's owned by Kick Brooks of Brooks and Dunn. And as a matter of fact, I've been told that sometimes he does the wine tasting, does the pourings for the wine tastings at times. And so that's kind of cool. So those are the two places I would go to. Name something fun to do in Nashville minus alcohol. Nothing. No. Minus alcohol. First thing that comes to mind, and I did a video on this. I would go on a mural hunt. Now there are mural tours you can take, and I'm sure they're great. But what I'd also suggest is possibly before you come, Google murals in the Nashville area, make a list of what you want to see. And if you have a car or you rent a car, just drive around the city finding murals. What's going to happen is you'll find some of the ones you're looking for, and you'll find murals that didn't exist when the websites you went to for the information were written up. And there's hundreds of murals, and they're pretty cool. It's fun to do. Okay. Which libraries are open in Nashville? Okay, I only know of one library in Nashville. I know there's many, but I walked by it at one time while parking when I first started my work at the Bobby Hotel. Over on 6th Street, there's a large library. It's right across from the Church Street Park. And so if you want to go to the library when you come to town, I would say check that one out. What's the best YouTube channel about Nashville? Well, besides my own, there are others, and I don't usually mention other channels on here, not because I'm worried about competition, because I have a small channel, and I'm not worried about that. It's just that it's not really a good idea to mention other channels, because some people get the wrong idea that you're trying to get them to mention you. Just trust me. There are several good channels that cover Nashville. Okay. Okay. Any cool free places to check out in Nashville? Well, if you walk around, okay, I mentioned mural hunting. That's free. Just walking down the street, there's a lot of things to see, a lot of high rises. You can take pictures of different areas. Oh, I've got one. Like I said, I didn't practice these questions. I'm answering them as things come in as I read them. Okay, and the pedestrian bridge. I did a video on that, and you can walk across the bridge. You have great views, great place for pictures, and it's free. Okay. Should I visit the Gaylord Opryland Resort? I said before, it depends, okay? Which Nashville restaurants are open? Pretty much all of them. Name a restaurant in Nashville that's different. Okay. The first one that comes to mind is called House of Cards. Okay. And if you... they're not really a chain per se. There's more than one, but in Nashville there's one. And what I would do if I were you, if you're really interested, is go, Google them and Google Nashville, and they do have a dress code. Basically, you can't wear sports gear, you can't wear flip-flops. You have to dress business casual, but at the meals, they have entertainment. They have magicians. And on Sundays, it's sort of a family day. So Sundays are for families. And, so it sounds like a lot of fun. And so it's different. That's what I say. Where do the locals eat? Burger King, McDonald's. Locals, if they come downtown, they pretty much eat where everybody else eats at. One place I can say that sticks out in my mind is Puckett's over on the corner of 5th Avenue and Church Street. But locals eat what you would eat. Okay. Which bars are open? Again, they're all open. Okay. Do I need to buy a cowboy hat and boots when I come to Nashville? You can buy a cowboy hat and boots. As a matter of fact, there's about 3 different boot stores on Broadway. That's where I would go. And they compete against each other. If you really want boots, that's where you buy them at. They probably sell cowboy hats as well. I would suggest that you don't wear your boots around that week. If you want to wear them a little bit, fine. But people talk about getting blisters until they break in the boots. And that would really kind of damper your entertainment. Which Nashville neighborhood are you in? None of them. I actually live about 30 minutes away from downtown Nashville. What's the best way to get around Nashville? If you have a car, that's probably going to be your choice. If you don't mind driving around a big city, use Google Maps or use the app, the Google Maps app. When you drive around Nashville, it works really well, and because I use it. And if you don't have a car, just use Uber or a Lyft, and that works just fine. Even cabs work great too. The only problem with cabs is that, or with all of them, is that prices change depending on what activities are going on downtown. If there's a game, prices will be higher. But the point is, that's the best way to get around. If you don't have your own car, you got to use Uber or Lyft, or you can walk if it's not that far. How do you become a concierge? These are questions that people have asked me. Well, first of all, I was at the Gaylord Opryland for 3 years. I started working in their call center. I did that for almost 2 years, and I wanted to be a concierge. That was my goal. And I waited for an opening, and I got the job at the Gaylord. I was there for a year, a little bit over a year as a concierge, and due to the pandemic, they got rid of the position. There were 6 of us, and they got rid of all of us. And a few months later, I saw the advertisement for the job at the Bobby Hotel, and I applied and got it. So what do you have to know to be a concierge? Just enough, okay? And if I was going to suggest that somebody get a job as a concierge, I say, when you apply at a hotel, kind of learn what the area, what's in the area, the restaurants and that sort of thing. It's just so that you know enough to sound like you know something, okay? You learn as you do the job, okay? What's the housing market like in Nashville? I understand it's pretty good for sellers, okay? And so, but I'm not an expert on that either. Why do you live in Nashville? Well, my wife is in Nashville and her family is here, and so I'm here. And it's not a bad place to live. And of course, she's here, so that makes it a lot better. Does it snow much in Nashville? No. I'm from Michigan. I know what snow is. We get very little snow in this part of the state. On the eastern side of the state, they get a lot more snow. Where can I go bike riding in Nashville? Well, if you want to ride around town, there's bikes. There are bikes that you can rent that are in bike stands all over the place, and you can rent them using your phone. Or if you go to a place called the Greenway, which is near Shelby Park, they have bike rentals there. The Greenway is a large area that you can bike around, and I've had several people do this and tell me that they loved it. Next page. Will Nashville ever get a Major League Baseball team? Well, you know, we do have the Nashville Sounds right now, which is minor league, and I've heard rumors, but by the time they do, I'll be too old to enjoy it. What's the best concert you've seen in Nashville? I've seen several concerts here. At least 4 of them have been Motley Crue. I've seen Kiss a couple times. I've seen Alice Cooper. I've seen the Rolling Stones. As far as country, two concerts. I've seen, well, Brad Paisley was the opening act for the Stones. He was pretty good. And I've seen Keith Urban, and, you know, he was okay. So that's where I've seen. Who's more popular, the Titans or the Preds? Like I said before, this is a hockey town, so the Predators, in my opinion. Will Nashville get a basketball team? I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Who's more popular, Vandy or the Vols? It depends. You know, again, that's like, who do you like? You know, black or orange. Will Nashville ever come back? I'm sure they're talking about, because of the pandemic. And over 60% of those who worked in hospitality lost their jobs. That means hotel workers, restaurant workers, and any jobs that related to tourism. And will it ever come back? Well, you know, it's all up to people wanting it to come back. You know, people that want the virus to stop, to end, to cut down, the numbers to go down, and that means doing what you should do to make it go down. So, you know, if people in the area want the economy to get better, you have to play the game, and a lot of people, so at the moment, have decided not to. That's up to them. So it all depends. Were you downtown during the bombing? No, I wasn't. And I'm sorry that anybody was, and it would have scared the heck out of me. I work only blocks away from where it happened. Okay. I wasn't working at the hotel at the time. Would you recommend a country Christmas at Gaylord for family? Wait, let's see. Let me try this again. Would you recommend a country Christmas at Gaylord for families? Other than what I saw the other day and the large number of people that were over there at the Gaylord at ACC, a country Christmas. It was great for kids. Outside, outdoors, those activities weren't bad at all. But indoor, it was too tight with people. And what I recommend it depends on the day of the week. Take your kids on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Or that wasn't the problem. The problem was too many people on a Monday. So take them on a Friday, spend the weekend, and when there's less people. That's it. How much rain does Nashville get? Too much. You know, you never know what the weather's going to be like here, and but it rains too much as far as I'm concerned. What's the weather supposed to be like today? I don't know. What's the best time to visit Nashville? It depends on what you want to do, okay? And I say, to me, summertime, okay? Summertime is the best time. What else is there to do near the Opry? Okay, I've already mentioned the Gaylord Opryland Resort. Another thing you can do is over at the mall that's right across the street from the Grand Ole Opry is Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. And I have a video on that, okay? Has Nashville reopened? Yeah. Are masks mandatory? We've already talked about that. Okay, we've talked about what the best steakhouse is in Nashville. Last page. What is Nashville famous for? Nashville is famous for, besides music and music, okay, Nashville has a thing called Nashville hot chicken. And so basically there's hot chicken places all around town. And if you like the spicy hot chicken, that's what they're famous for. Where can I get the best hot chicken? People say Hattie B's. Okay, Hattie B's, and best place to go as far as Hattie B's, because she has several, is over on 5th and Broad. She has there's a Hattie B's over there. Okay. What Nashville restaurants are open on Christmas Day? We've already answered that. What is Printers Alley? Printers Alley, at one time there were over 30 printers, publishers in the Nashville area, and the area that they were in was called Printers Alley. There's a lot of places there that when the publishers closed down, their buildings became bars and restaurants and speakeasies, and usually during the Prohibition days, they sold alcohol, and they have a history of being sort of interesting places. And so that's what it is. It's a historical area of Nashville. Where do the stars live in Nashville? I don't know. Brentwood, over in Hendersonville. I haven't been invited, but they're around. Some probably live downtown. Can you get us into the Bluebird Cafe? No. The Bluebird Cafe was not as popular before the show Nashville was aired. That's how it became famous. And you have to have a reservation. You have to have tickets to an event or a reservation months in advance. Okay, so you're not going to go there. Have you ever seen a star in Nashville? I've seen many. One that I can name because I saw him while working at the Gaylord Opryland Resort is George Clooney. I saw him, and I saw Alice Cooper there. I saw the actor that played Chachi. And for those of you who don't know who Chachi was on Happy Days, don't worry, it's no big deal. Where should I stay when visiting Nashville? We've been through this before. Where should I eat when visiting Nashville? Wherever you want. Where's the best place to eat on Broadway? That's interesting. It is, because back when I was on the Gaylord, in the Gaylord Opryland, a concierge there, and people would say, "Oh, where should we eat?" We'd send them over to the Wild Horse Saloon or Old Red, because most of the people I talked to that were going downtown didn't want to leave Broadway. Okay. And Old Red is a place owned by Blake Shelton, by the way. And I'm sure the food is good. Food's fine. Food's probably fine most of the places on Broadway. But it's kind of interesting that where I'm at now, downtown, I haven't recommended a restaurant on Broadway the whole time I've been there. Just telling you that it's just food. Why is Nashville called the Music City? Because, okay, country music runs it, okay? But it has everything else. It's got rock, jazz, blues, whatever, rap, whatever, and they all the studios where all these different types of music are made are in Nashville. Okay, so that's why. Is Nashville your favorite city? Now, I like it, and there's a lot of good things about it, and I live here, which is why I do this channel. And but I like a lot of the places. Okay. What museums are good in Nashville? There are several, especially if you're a music fan or a country music fan. Right down the street from where I work at is the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum, and they cover all types of music there. And in the other direction, down the street, is there's and I don't want to mess this up, but it's an African American Music Hall of Fame Museum. That appears to be pretty interesting. I'm going to be going there soon. There's also the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Johnny Cash and Patsy Cline museums. Those are two different museums located next to each other. Glenn Campbell, his family put together a museum a block away from that, and I've been there. I've done a video on that museum, and it's pretty interesting. And just a block away from there is the George Jones, which is a restaurant / museum, and in both situations, it's worth going to. Got any good deals you can share? Okay. What I suggest is, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I do have a deal for people doing the hop-on, hop-off trolley, and there is a video on that. I don't really want to do any selling right now, and because hey, this has been a long video, and I appreciate you being here. And listen, that was the last question, and I'm glad we were able to come in and check out my live stream. And if you're watching this pre-recorded, thank you for stopping by again. And if you enjoyed what we did here, just hit the like button. And if you'd like me to cover any other areas, mention that in the comments. And just say hi in the comments. I appreciate that. I'll say hi back. But thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a great Christmas. It's only like 4 days away, 3 days away, and I hope you have a great holiday with your family. And I will see you soon. And so you guys have a great day. Okay, bye bye.